So just so everybody knows that the meeting is also going to be recorded. Okay, so this is the 2022 COC pit count training. And what is the Delaware COC? So the Delaware COC is a community-based collaborative that ensures a responsive, just, and fair approach to housing or to homelessness and strives for housing for all. We maintain a cross-sector membership of over 200 people and organizations statewide, and we're also one of the largest funders of homeless assistance programs in the state. The purpose of the COC is to intervene at every level and instance of homelessness to quickly rehouse households and prevent future occurrences of homelessness, with the ultimate goal of ending homelessness for all. Housing Alliance Delaware is the COC lead agency. So we are responsible for the planning and administration of all COC activities and for ensuring that HUD rules and regulations are satisfied. It's HUD's responsibility to plan and execute and report on the annual point in time count. Our contact information is there for anybody who does not have it already. Myself, Erin, who's the COC program manager, and Felicia, who is our COC program specialist. So anything related to the COC, you're more than welcome to reach out to us on that. So what is the point in time count exactly? The PIT is a statewide census count of persons experiencing homelessness, and it provides an annual snapshot of Delaware's homeless response system. Normally, the PIT is completed in the last 10 days of January, and HUD requires COCs to survey all persons experiencing homelessness who are unsheltered, meaning that they are sleeping outside, in cars, or in other places not meant for human habitation, or sheltered homelessness, which means those are individuals or families residing in emergency shelters, emergency hotel motel rooms, and homeless dedicated transitional housing programs. To date, Delaware has completed 18 point in time counts. So why do we do the PIT? So through the PIT, we obtain the most reliable data on the number and characteristics of people experiencing homelessness in Delaware. The PIT also helps inform policy and planning decisions across multiple sectors. It raises public awareness about homelessness in our state, and it can also be utilized by service providers to support funding applications and advocacy efforts. HUD mandates the PIT count as a condition of continued funding for communities that receive federal homeless assistance and affordable housing funds. And PIT data is one metric in which COCs are evaluated by HUD on their progress in ending homelessness in their communities during the annual funding competition. So the 2022 point in time count, due to a surge of COVID-19 this year, HUD allowed communities to postpone their 2022 PIT counts to the last 10 days in February. So due to the number of cases and safety factors here in Delaware, we did decide to push the PIT count back. So this year it will be taking place on February 23rd for the unsheltered and code purple counts. So those will be the evening of that night. And on February 24th is our service location count, meaning that volunteers will be going to sites like libraries and day centers to catch anybody who might have been missed the night before. Some important volunteer information. So next Monday, the 14th, we will be distributing preliminary volunteer assignments, and with the goal of announcing final volunteer assignments on Monday, the 21st, which is President's Day. If that week time frame is the most important time to contact us. If you're no longer able to participate, you have any questions about your assignment, or you would like to make any changes to your assignment. It's really, really hard to do the very last minute shifting a day before the PIT count. So please, please, please take the time to look at your assignment and make sure that you are okay with it when we release the preliminary teams. So that way, if any changes need to be made, it can be made within that week, and we don't have to scramble to do it at the last minute. And finally, if you have not done so already, please fill out the volunteer sign-up form. That really helps us determine what your selections are for where you want to volunteer. We really try to make sure that people get their first assignment. So definitely, if you are on today and you haven't filled that out yet and you're interested in volunteering, please go fill that out. And we also require volunteer waivers for anybody who participates in the count. So if you have signed up and you have not completed your volunteer waiver yet, please do so because we need those on file for you guys. So where do we still need volunteers? In Sussex County, we need assistance with Code Purple volunteers. We have a couple of sites that we still need to have at least 1 or 2 volunteers participate at. In Kent County, we need everyone. We really need unsheltered volunteers and service location volunteers, as well as Code Purple. So if anybody in Kent County is on today and is signed up for one and maybe would like to do another, or is interested in doing anything in Kent County, right now that is where we need the most volunteers. And in Newcastle County, we definitely need to beef up our service location volunteers. So those would be the volunteers going to libraries, day centers, and whatnot. Volunteer materials. So for the unsheltered count, volunteers will have unsheltered surveys. They'll have the materials they need to be able to complete those surveys. We are providing PPE, which we'll go into in a minute, care bags, which are the bags full of the goodies that we hand out to everybody that we encounter, flashlights with spare batteries, maps with your geography lined out on it, a list of known locations for the area that you'll be covering, as well as pit count identification. Anybody who participated in 2020 will know there was a little bit of an issue with that. So this year we're super excited to have these big giant magnets that can go on people's cars, and we'll also be doing other things to make sure that everybody is clearly identified as a pit volunteer. For Code Purple, you'll be getting sheltered surveys, PPE, care bags, and again, clipboards and pen, and same with the service locations. And just at the bottom there, we want to make sure to reiterate that care bags are provided to any individual or family experiencing homelessness, regardless of their willingness to complete a survey. So please don't use the care bags as like a bribe to get people to answer our questions. If they don't want to answer them, they don't have to, they still get the care bags for that. So for volunteer safety, this is really, really important to us. We've never had anything go wrong with volunteers, knock on wood. So we're hoping to keep that trend going this year. So these are just some tips to make sure that everybody is safe while they are participating in the pit. So always stay with at least one person. That's super important. We don't want anybody going anywhere by themselves. The buddy system is very, very effective. Maintain awareness of your surroundings. So where other people are and ways to get in and out of the spaces that you're in. So you never want to be backing yourself into a corner or a place where you feel like you may be trapped or anything like that. You want to stay in well-lit areas, including alleyways. And if you're using a flashlight, please be respectful and don't shine it in anybody's face because that can be very threatening and disorienting. Prioritize your own safety. If you don't feel safe approaching someone or going somewhere, don't do it. Definitely prioritize your own safety above everything during this count. Don't transport anybody other than your volunteers or your team in your vehicle. So if you encounter anybody who may not be responsive or may be in need of medical care, we definitely suggest calling 911 in those situations. Now, we don't want people to call 911 willy-nilly, especially with the stress that is on the medical system right now. So if you encounter somebody who might not be responsive, it's super important not to panic. They may just be asleep or not want to be bothered. So there's some things you can do, like check to see if you can see them breathing. Does it look like they're wearing enough clothes if it's cold outside? And then if you're still concerned, you can say things like, I'm sorry to bother you, I just want to make sure you're okay, those kind of things. But definitely don't just make assumptions and call 911 if somebody doesn't need it. So COVID-19 precautions, the COC is providing CDC approved N95 masks for all volunteers. This year, we have moved our launch sites to be outdoors for the sheltered count to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. And also we are attempting to keep teams no larger than 4 to cut down on the amount of people that you're interacting with during the pit. We strongly encourage all volunteers to take a rapid test 24 to 48 hours prior to their volunteer assignment if they are able to. And you are prohibited from participating if you have any of the following symptoms. So sore throat, fever, cough, headache, any other symptoms associated with COVID-19, or if you have been in contact with anybody who has tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 10 days, unless you have tested negative at least 5 days after that exposure. So those are a little bit stricter than the current CDC guidelines, but we are dealing with vulnerable populations. So we want to make sure that we are not only keeping volunteers safe, but we are keeping clients and anybody we might come in contact with that night safe as well from COVID-19. So I am just going to play 2 quick little videos for you guys on proper N95 use. The first one is going to just go through some of the aspects of the masks that we ordered for you guys. And then the second is just a proper fitting it to your face. Each video is about 3 minutes long. So here we go.
The Fongtian FT040 is folding N95 style. CDC NIOSH approval for at least 95% filtration of microparticles. Reliable filter layer, lighter weight. Make masks safe and suitable for long-term wear. Can get a good filtration effect. The size is a bit bigger and with 3D cutting to cover a larger area. So it can get a protective effect similar to a cup mask. Laser welding of the headband. There are no staple holes on the surface, so can get a better sealing effect. The edge of the mask is neat and reliable. And special air edge design on the mask will not stretch the mask to be deformed, even pulled by force. So the whole mask still can stick to your face tightly. Strong metal strips provide better shaping to fit your face. Laser welding headband is wide and firm, and we can pull it long as you can. It's folding design and light for easy wearing. Fongtian provide quality and comfortable N95 masks. N95 in stock has a licensing relationship with Fongtian. Choose the best products for you. Guarantee they are genuine with primary source and fresh date. And also can do bulk wholesale, OEM logo printing and personalized service.
Okay, that's enough of that one. So just going over some of the safety features that are included in the masks, that everybody can be confident that they are CDC approved, and it has all of the good little stuff on it. We also have a link down here to the manufacturer's instructions for the specific mask that we ordered. A lot of the things, that video that we watch coming up is going to talk about needing to use,
for example, BYD
manufacturer's instructions.
With a metallic nose clip and 2 elastic bands secured on both sides using staples. To don the respirator, remove the respirator from its packaging and inspect all respirator components for damage prior to use. Unfold the respirator and hold it with both hands with the metallic strip facing up. Fully open both panels of the respirator to form a cup shape with straps hanging below the hand. Cup the respirator in one hand with fingertips positioned at nose piece. Place the respirator against your face. Position the respirator under the chin with the nose piece across the bridge of your nose and mouth. Keeping one hand on the respirator, pull the bottom strap over your head, then position it around the back of your neck and below your ears. Pull the top strap over the top of your head and rest it high on the crown of your head. The straps must not be twisted. Adjust the straps. Then adjust the respirator at the chin and cheeks. Using both hands, mold the nose clip to the shape of your nose bridge by pushing inwards while moving your fingertips down both sides of the nose piece. Always use two hands when molding the nose piece. Pinching with one hand may result in improper fit and less effective respirator performance. Conform the nose piece across the bridge of your nose by firmly pressing down with your fingers. Make sure that hair, facial hair, jewellery and clothing are not between your face and the respirator, as they will interfere with the fit. Compress the respirator to ensure a seal across face, cheeks and the bridge of nose. Continue to adjust the respirator and secure the edges until you feel you have achieved a close fit. Once fitted, perform the fit check. This type of respirator requires close attention to the process of fit checking. To fit check an N95 foldable respirator, place both hands over the respirator, taking care not to disturb its fit. Gently place hands around the edge to feel any air escaping when the fit check is assessed. Take a deep breath and hold your breath for a few seconds, making sure the respirator collapses inward as you inhale. Then exhale, making sure your respirator bulges outward as you exhale. If air leaks, reposition the respirator, tightening the metallic strip and reposition the elastic bands for a better fit. If air leaks around the nose, readjust the nose clip to eliminate leakage by repeating earlier steps until a tight seal is achieved. If you can't achieve a seal, ask a colleague if available to check that the straps are not twisted or for hair or earrings that might be caught in the seal.
Okay, so I think everybody gets the point. Again, these slides and these videos will be available afterwards if anybody would like to watch them again to get proper N95 fitting techniques. So some information about the Code Purple count, which will be on February 23rd. Volunteers will show up at their sites at around 6 p.m. And volunteers will be notified directly if their arrival time differs from that 6 o'clock. Pit materials will be provided on site, or HAD will be coordinating directly with volunteers in advance to provide them the materials that they need. And for those who are assigned to Friendship House Code Purple only. So Friendship House Code Purple only operates when temperatures drop below 20 degrees. So assigned volunteers will be notified the day of the pit if their Code Purple location is operating or not. In the event that the Friendship House Code Purple is not operating on the night of the pit, volunteers will be offered to join unsheltered teams or survey at service locations the following day. For the service location count, volunteers will show up at their assigned service locations on the morning of February 24th. Volunteers will identify anybody who was sleeping outside or in another place not meant for human habitation the prior evening, so the evening of the 23rd. And only those who were unable to be identified by the unsheltered or Code Purple teams that night. So if somebody indicated that they were surveyed already, you do not need to survey that person again. The service location count helps ensure that those who were missed the evening before are counted. And service locations are typically crowded, so the survey should be done with as much privacy as possible, since we are going to be reviewing like personal and private information. For the unsheltered count, unsheltered volunteers arrive at 9 o'clock at their launch sites the evening of the 23rd and should be prepared to survey until approximately 1 o'clock a.m. Teams will survey individuals or families outdoors, in cars, and other places not meant for human habitation, including train stations, bus stations, overpasses, encampments, and more. One major change this year is that we will not be entering ERs or urgent care facilities, which we have done in previous years, and that is due to COVID-19. Teams of 2 minimum or 4 maximum will travel by vehicle or foot with team leaders to known locations with high prevalence of homelessness, and to dress in layers. It can get pretty cold when it's 5 degrees when we did this. So we definitely want people to dress in layers, wear comfortable shoes, bring your cell phone fully charged. Definitely make sure you have that and a way for you to contact people and people to contact you. Your photo ID just in case, and a flashlight if you have one available to you, but we will be providing those to outdoor teams. So for unsheltered roles and responsibilities, this is kind of the setup for the team. So each launch site will have a site lead. They will be responsible for getting the materials to the launch site, for getting volunteers signed in and ensuring anybody who hasn't completed a waiver does one. Moving through a launch site checklist. They are the point of contact for all launch site team leads, and they are responsible for material collection at the end of the night. Team leads will ensure that team members have each other's cell phone numbers and the cell phone number of the site lead. They will direct teams to the known locations and ensure all of the known locations within the team's geography are covered. They'll ensure 2 passes of the team's geography before returning to the launch site, and they will ensure the site lead receives all of the PIT materials at the end of the night. And then for other team members, they will be responsible for surveying individuals or families experiencing unsheltered homelessness, and they will ensure that there are no less than 2 team members approaching an individual or family or entering an encampment at one time. So again, buddy system. Our unsheltered launch sites for Newcastle County, our unsheltered launch site will be the Newcastle County Hope Center, and myself will be the site lead for that site. We are still in need of a site lead for Kent County, but we will be using NCAL's Dover office as a launch site for Kent County. And East Sussex, due to the size of Sussex County, will have 2 launch sites. Felicia Lawrence will be handling our East Sussex launch site, which is at the Community Resource Center of Rehoboth. And Jen Parsons will be handling our West Sussex launch site, which is going to be Love Inc. Of Seaford. Right, and we are just going to play one more video for you guys. One of the biggest feedback we got the last time we did an unsheltered count was more tips on how to actually engage and have conversations with people, feeling comfortable entering situations of unsheltered homelessness. So we are going to play this video here, and afterwards we will go over some takeaways and hear from our own street outreach team here in Delaware, who is through Brandywine Counseling.
The PATH program is a federally funded program called Projects for Assistance in Transition from Homelessness, and it funds outreach workers like us all over the country to reach out to people.
Oops, sorry, y'all.
PATH program is a federally funded program called Projects for Assistance in Transition from Homelessness, and it funds outreach workers like us all over the country to reach out to people who are homeless and who are experiencing mental health problems. We're doing street outreach today, and I've brought Tina along with me. And Tina's a relatively new outreach worker with our team. We always go out in pairs. Since I've been doing this a long time, I feel like it's my job or my role today to really mentor Tina to help her learn better how to do this.
I'm a bit apprehensive and I don't really know what to expect.
Tina and I are doing street outreach, which means going out to where people are, meeting them where they are, offering water, information, sometimes sleeping bags or clean socks, and really just checking in with people to try to build relationships so that when they're ready to access other services, they've got some trust with us. So when you're thinking about being prepared for outreach, what does that mean to you?
I'm thinking about being open-minded, so I don't want to be shocked for anything that I might see or unexpected.
I think about really meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
And being non-judgmental about their situation. I want her to be able to articulate some of what that means for her too, to be prepared, to prepare herself emotionally, physically, spiritually for this process of connecting with someone who's really disconnected in a lot of ways.
Being relatively new to our team, I feel a little more comfortable knowing that everyone is familiar with us and that we are not there to harm anyone, but to help them.
There's somebody. Have you seen this guy before?
No, I haven't.
So he's sitting down.
Right.
How do you kind of assess what's going on and how do you think about physically approaching him? What's on your mind?
I'm trying to assess what his situation is right now. If he's injured, if he needs medical assistance, or he's hungry, or maybe how long he's been out here. Right before we approached him, I was starting to feel like, unfortunately, a little anxious. Wow, he's given me the lead to go ahead and say the first word, and I really don't know what I'm going to say.
Got to make sure also as we approach him, we don't get too close, that we give him a little bit of space
Right.
and that we get kind of at his level, that we are either at his eye level or a little bit lower. So I think, I'm certainly going to crouch down, but especially since we don't know him, he doesn't know who we are. I'm going
Okay.
to give him a little bit more space than I might otherwise.
All right. Okay.
And why don't you take the first word?
Excellent. Okay.
We have no way of really knowing what's going on with him. It might be that he's got some mental health problems. It might be that he's intoxicated. It might be that he's homeless for the first time or has been homeless for 20 years. We just don't know.
Hi. How are you?
How's it going? When we approached him and he was really not ready to talk to us, he just clearly wanted to be left alone. That may have freaked Tina out a little bit, but I think that's okay because a lot of people out on the street are like that. They're very suspicious.
My name's Tina. This
I
is
am
Jeff. We're from the street outreach team. Have you heard about us before? Maybe heard around about what we do? No?
We're out on the street every day and I hadn't seen you out here before. Do you know about our drop-in center? It's over there on 4th Street and we've got showers and clean clothes and stuff like that down there. Do you know about the drop-in center? No. No, okay. All right, well, here's a card that's got the drop-in center's information on it. In case you need it, look, I'll just leave it right here, okay? And if you need anything, you can certainly come down there and ask for Jeff or Tina. We're based out of that place. And we're out here a couple days a week on outreach. Do you mind if we check in with you again? So it's all right if we come by and see you again? Yes. When we approach someone with a non-judgmental frame of mind, it has to do with not making any assumptions about who they are as a human being, what decisions they've made up till now, or what has caused their homelessness. I have no way of really knowing what this other person's experience is. I haven't walked in their shoes and I can't walk in their shoes. Are you new in town? No, I'm not.
Is there anything we can get for you? Are you hungry?
I'm okay.
Need some water?
Just what?
Yeah. Would you like some water?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got some snacks too we can leave with you. I'm okay.
You want the water? You want granola
Just
bar?
water. Water would be fine.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
It's about survival. It's really about providing basic support for people so they can stay alive on the street, giving them a sleeping bag, giving them some food and water, letting them know where the health clinic is, taking care of medical needs in the case of medical outreach teams. If you decide you need anything, you can head over there. Okay.
Yeah. Stop in and ask for one of us. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to meet you. Hope you have a good day. Take care. Okay.
See you later.
I think she was a little bit nervous, and I think she kind of shut down in terms of what direction she might take the conversation. And I inserted myself a little bit more into the conversation. And then it was just time to go. We didn't want to stick around a long time and bother this gentleman. We didn't want to assert ourselves too strongly on him.
Wow, he was really resistant at first, but you know, he kind of opened up to us at the end. Maybe it was because he became more comfortable with us.
Yeah, what do you think made that shift happen? Because I felt it too, that he warmed up a little bit the longer we were with him.
Maybe the water, because that's kind of when I noticed that it happened. So I don't know, you know, what do you think?
Yeah, it could be. It could be that he kind of realized that we weren't threatening, we weren't going to run him off, we weren't going to ask anything of him. What about the food? We tried to give him food and he didn't want that.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose he wasn't hungry. Or maybe he thought the water was safe enough for now. He doesn't want to accept too much from us.
Yeah.
Do you think I should have been a little more persistent with the granola bar?
No, not at all. And I think he was ready to take what he was ready to take. And it's hot and he was thirsty and he took the water, but maybe didn't want to accept any more right now. I think that's fine. I think it's really important that we followed his lead.
Well, I understand, you know, throughout time, maybe I'll get a little more confident, but at this time I was not confident at all.
And he didn't want to take the drop-in center card from me. It was kind of okay that I left it there, but he didn't want to take it out of my hand. He didn't give us his name. I wasn't going to ask him to, you know, make him feel uncomfortable or make him feel like we're asking more information than he's ready to give.
Right.
So we need to fill out the log. In this case, when we really don't know much about him, you know, I think that's fine for now. So right now, I'm just going to write the address where he is, where we know the street corner where we found him,
Okay.
and just that he's a male and his
And that'll be
probably
fine.
mid-40s. That's fine for
You
now.
think?
And then I think next time we try to connect with him again and see if he'll open up a little bit more.
Right. So not everything from the video is going to be transferable to what we do with the pit, but there are some really important takeaways as the pit is kind of its own little form of street outreach. So some takeaways from the video are prepare mentally and emotionally for the encounter, and it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be nervous to go into these situations, but definitely make sure that you are preparing yourself, because especially if you're a new volunteer, the first time that you enter an encampment or experience unsheltered homelessness can be really jarring. So just to keep that in mind. You always want to assess the situation before approaching, but you never want to make assumptions about the person or their situation. You want to try to connect during your brief encounter, but make sure you're not pushing anybody further than they're comfortable going. I think that was a really big takeaway from the video, is that they didn't try to push this gentleman to give any information that he's not comfortable with. They do have the I would say the advantage of being able to re-engage with that person, which we might not have during the pit. But again, still try not to make people feel uncomfortable as much as possible. Being aware of when it's time to disengage is really important. You want to make sure that these encounters are brief and we're not disturbing people as much as we can. And then you want to record as much information about the person and their situation as possible, even if you only have observational information. That's a big thing we'll touch on in the breakout rooms, is how to complete the survey based off observation for those who do not want to complete the survey or answer the questions. And now I will turn it over to Rebecca Nuttall from Brandywine Counseling. She runs their street outreach program, and she is just going to give a little bit of context about unsheltered homelessness in Delaware.
Thank you, Erin. Hi, I'm Rebecca Nuttall. I'm the Prevention Assistant Director at Brandywine Counseling and directly oversee our street outreach program. So Erin was kind enough to ask for us to give a little bit of our firsthand experience with street outreach. We've been doing this for a little under a year currently, and I definitely agree. The video did give some good tips, but obviously the situation here is going to be a little bit different than just approaching someone as they did in the video. Some of the things that we have found to be the most helpful when approaching is to just be very transparent about who you are, introduce yourself, and really take cues from the person that you're engaging with. Take cues from their body language. If they don't want to engage, don't push it. If they are interested in engaging, then get as much information as you can. Some of the things that I was sharing with Erin that she thought would be important to share as well as some of the things that we have seen while we've been doing street outreach, just so that no one is surprised. Sometimes when you go into the tent cities or the little encampments, it is like a little self-sustaining city. So sometimes you might see things that are needed for cooking, which one of the times I went, I saw a pretty large knife that wasn't used for like as a weapon, but is used for cooking in their survival in the woods. So just be aware of everything that's around you and be very mindful. It's very important for our team, and I know they're stressing that here as well, that is definitely that you're always together with at least one other person. It's one of the most important things. And to just, you know, show your empathy and compassion for their situation and that you're just here to help. I don't know if you'd like me to add anything else, Erin, or if anyone had any questions.
Yeah, if anybody has any direct questions for Rebecca right now, feel free to unmute. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, so we can take a minute to pause here for any questions before we move to the breakout rooms. So any questions for Rebecca or any questions about the pit in general up until this point?
Yeah, I have a question. All right, thanks, Rebecca, for that summary as far as your experience, you know, with street outreach. I've done some of that same stuff, work with the encampment peers with the Bridge Clinic guys. One thing I noticed in the video when he was talking with his partner there about the guy didn't, you know, express his name, even though they volunteered to give their name. He didn't respond to give his name. And I was just wondering, even though he was completing the survey based on his observation, he told her, like, you know, since he didn't volunteer his name, that was not important. He didn't want to make the guy feel uncomfortable. Is that something you've experienced with individuals not wanting to give their names, or do you ask them for their name?
We definitely haven't. Luckily, our team hasn't experienced as much resistance as the gentleman seemed in the video. For the most part, if they're willing to speak to us at all, we're able to engage them. There has been a few times where there's someone that doesn't want to come out of their tent. Obviously, then we're not going to push that any further than it is. I think that just using normal approachable skills, I think it's fine to engage a little bit more, but you can really read someone's body language on whether or not they're wanting. It should be pretty clear in that setting about whether or not they would like to engage. What I have found in some of the encampments that have more than one person is that almost there's kind of like a little bit of a hierarchy in that setting. So typically we are approached or engaged first with, you know, one individual or two individuals that are kind of in charge of the self-sustaining tent city. And then from there, once they kind of give their blessing to us, then anyone else that would like to engage is engaging with us. And most of the time, they are wanting to engage because we have things to offer them: water, socks, outreach bags. And they want to share their story and their information with you. Sometimes it's actually more like, how do we disengage a little to move on to the next person, which is, you know, just as politely as possible. Just, you know, thank you so much for your time. Oh, let me go over there really fast. And then, you know, just kind of walk away and disengage that way. But, you know, there is a potential that you're going to meet someone that isn't going to want to talk to you. And that's okay. We have to respect that and respect, you know, their wishes and their time as well.
Thank you, Rebecca.
And-
Oh,
I'm
sorry, Felicia. I wanted to jump in real quick and try to address, there was a question in the chat, and I don't know if that's what you were going to bring up, Felicia.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, so there was a question, is there an appropriate way to approach people in a tent or a car? We don't want to intrude too much on their space. So I think that's really important. So a couple of things. I'm going to make a couple of assumptions about what Rebecca's team is usually doing. I'm assuming they're not usually going out at night. I could be wrong, but that is a big difference in terms of what we're doing with the point time count. You are absolutely correct. We normally, the way that I have done it is if I see a tent or an encampment area, and sometimes you'll just find someone sitting on a bench, like it's not like they're like back deep in the woods, but if you're in a place where you're going out into the woods or behind somewhere where there are tents, I always announce myself loudly way before I get close to anything. I'm always like, hey, my name's Rachel. I'm here to say hi and chat with you for a little bit. You know, and just like heads up, right? I would never walk up to someone's tent and like tap on it or shine my flashlight in it. Always giving a verbal heads up and saying, is it okay if I come a little bit closer? I was hoping to talk to you. That kind of thing is really important to make sure that people who are experiencing homelessness are very vulnerable. And we don't want to feel like they're not in a home with a locked door, right? So they can be very scared when people come to talk to them in the middle of the night. We don't want people to feel fearful. So we want to make sure that we let them know we're coming, let them know we're there before we get too close. The other thing I would say about cars, I actually have never gone out of my way. So I volunteered for the Unsheltered Pit many times in my life. And I've never gone out of my way to look for folks sleeping in cars. And that, I quite frankly don't totally recommend that because I think when people in their cars, they're trying to feel safe, and I don't know how you get their attention other than like knocking on their window, which I would not recommend doing. So if anyone wants to address the car issue, please feel free.
Yeah, I can give some context to that. So I had two things to add in terms of the cars. Again, we really just encourage that observation. Like if there is anything that you can make out from where you're standing or where you can see, do that. But if you're not able to make out anything like that, maybe just mark down the location so that we can provide that to street outreach teams in the future. A lot of the people who are in tents or in cars the evening of, we end up capturing through our service location count the next day. That is one of the reasons that we do the service location count. So it's not the end of the world if you're not able to capture those people, because we do have supports built in to try to help that. And again, we don't want to be disturbing anybody or scaring the crap out of them in the middle of the night. Additionally, I would add in terms of engaging and disengaging with people, we do have a little bit of an advantage of Delaware being a small state. Most homeless people in the state have engaged with the homeless system in one way or another. This is the 18th pit that we will be doing. So a lot of people that you will be coming in contact with have done the survey before and they know the drill. With that comes a lot of opinions. So like Rebecca said, you'll get the people who will want to talk your ear off and are super friendly and just want to tell their story. You also might encounter people who do not like service providers or have their opinions about the pit survey in and of itself. And so a lot in those cases where somebody might be a little more agitated or kind of gruff, I just kind of attempt to hear them out and listen to them, try to get as much information as I can. But those are the situations where we really just don't want to push it. So if somebody is getting like agitated or angry, we do suggest to just go ahead and like to politely disengage, leave a care bag, and move on from that. Any other questions or comments, experiences before we move on to the breakout rooms? Okay. So in just a second, you'll see the breakout room options pop up. So you will be able to select which breakout room you go into. If you don't select one will be selected for you at random. They'll last around 30 minutes, and this is the end of the training. So you guys will be able to go once the breakout rooms are finished. So due to the amount of unsheltered volunteers that we do have 2 unsheltered rooms, one with Rachel, one with Amelia, who have both done count before several times. We have our Code Purple room, which is going to be Nikki Gonzalez from Love Inc. Code Purple, Sussex County, and our service location room, which will be with myself. So Felicia, go ahead and pop those rooms up.
At this point, you should see the option to select the breakout room of your choice. We recommend going to the breakout room in which you are interested in volunteering, whether it's unsheltered, Code Purple, or service sites.
I don't see any options popping up.
Okay, Stacy, where would you like to go?
Unsheltered if there's room.
Sure.
I don't see any either, Felicia.
I cannot see it as well.
All right.
I cannot see as well.
I can't either, Felicia.
If you could just drop in the chat which room you would like, I can place you in there.
Thank
Just
you.
basically, it doesn't matter, unsheltered.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, Felicia.
Yes.
May I have room 3, please?
And which room is that?
Nikki Gonzalez.
Okay, Code Purple. Yes, sir. One
Yes.
second.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you should be there. Michael, where would you like to go? Or M. Jones? M. Jones, where would you like to go?
What's going on, Freddie? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we're supposed to leave the breakout room. I thought we were joining everyone. Is that the end of the meeting?
It can be unless you want to join a different breakout room.
Yeah, I tried to. It wouldn't let me. Did you try it?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I guess the thing I'm curious about is to whether the breakout sessions are being recorded as well, so that they can be reviewed as far as, what those topic discussions are.
Yeah, it looks like everything's being recorded.
Good.
As far as the display in the Zoom caption. I don't know if that just continues to stay there or.
Yeah, perhaps it is. I'll try to join Unsheltered too and see what happens there.
Yeah, I definitely tried to join. I wanted to actually get into Unsheltered. That's what I put in the chat, and she put me in Code Purple.
Yeah.
It was okay because they're just going to go over that survey. It's really, I think, what the chat was supposed to have been about, as well as the experience that they had with working in those areas.
Right.
So we pretty much got the same content of what they were going to talk about, other than location.
That is what it appears. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if that's the conclusion of the whole meeting. When you
Oh, it
leave
is.
there.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Once you're done your breakout, we were free to go.
Right. Okay. What county are you in?
Newcastle County.
Okay. Have you done this before?
I have. This will be, my 5th or 6th one.
Okay. Who do you work for in Newcastle County, Fred?
Department of Veterans Affairs.
Okay. You're a veteran.
Yes.
Okay. So you've probably seen quite a bit of different, different episodes and challenges of, what people are willing to, be involved in and what they're willing to not be involved in.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same goes with, some of the really challenging questions on the survey itself. One of the things I was, most surprised that was still there was, disclosure of, any of the social security number, because oftentimes.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's on there too.
Yeah, man. It's like, man,
Yeah.
people are often skeptical about giving any information, let alone trusting information with trusting a stranger with sensitive information as such. But okay then.
Yeah, usually you find that information on an intake form.
Right.
When they're trying to get services.
Yeah.
Yeah, not volunteering to be a part of a survey.
In public with
Right,
a
with
bunch of
strangers.
strangers.
Yeah, that was unusual to see that on there too. Yeah, because I mean, maybe I don't understand what that is for, because they're looking at the demographics with your age and your race and your ethnicity. You know what I mean? So that pretty much gives a description of the base of people that you're really meeting. So what purpose does the Social Security number serve, other
Right.
than a tracking for, where this individual is at?
Right. And if anything, I don't, it almost feels like a barrier, because in the event that, you're asking me about my social while I'm, on the street or in a position, it makes me skeptical about who you are and what you're doing with my
What you're doing
information.
with the information, right.
Yeah.
Even though you're disclosing and reading that disclosure statement, how much do they really take that for face value?
Or
Because they've had people, do them wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So there's a lot of
Yeah.
insecurity that come with that in general.
that. Hi, I'm Fred. I'm here from the government. I'm here to help. Come on.
Right. Where's my social security check? I haven't even got it, you know what I mean? And you ask me for a social security number.
Right.
Well, I mean, a lot of times, some of these guys are really like crafty. They'll say, well, since you're taking my social security number, right? Well, you're going to help me to get my social security. You know what I mean? So it's like, they want you to give something to get something.
Yeah. I understand. I was supposed to get these checks during COVID.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it goes into other areas with, like you say, even asking for that social security information. That's a really, really sensitive question. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
and,
guess the guys that have been doing it for a long time, like yourself, or, and you come across that question, and the people that know you, I guess they're